and gentlemen. Well, here we are on a requested edition of this special podcast. So those are my longtime viewers out there. You might remember my special guest tonight from the second video I ever did on the channel for Survivor Winners at War. And he actually asked to be back on this podcast, and I'm super excited to have him back. My one and only brother, not my only brother, he's the middle child, but here he is back on the channel after 5 long months. Jake, how's it going, dude?
Hey, I'm very thirsty right now.
Yeah, see, he was just sitting there like chugging the water, and I was going to see how long I could go with that little introduction right there. But it's been a while,
still got
dude.
some left.
You still got some.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, man. But why don't you go ahead, before we get further into this whole pleasantry and the TV thoughts episode here, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewers who might not know you?
Yeah, hi there. I'm Jacob Goller. I'm Zack Goller's younger brother. I'm currently still in college. I have only a couple semesters left. I'm a science student, and I like memes.
Yep.
I hope to be on this channel more in the future to maybe cover some more TV shows, maybe even a movie here and there.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
Totally. I'm not expecting this to be the last time you're on the channel at all. And speaking of channels, you actually also have a channel of your own. The Goller family is an extremely talented family, if I say so myself. And Jake is deciding to show that on his channel. Where can we find you?
Hey, so unlike Zack, who does movie reviews, I have a YouTube channel also where I do singing videos of things where I was at open mic night or just when I'm at home in my house. I'm just singing songs, open mic nights with my choir and in my house. The channel name is my exact name, Jacob, Jacob, space, Goller, Goller, and the J and the G are capital, just so you know.
And I'll make sure to write that down exactly as you just described it to me also. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to Jake's channel down in the description box below. If you guys want to go check him out and subscribe to him, he is extremely talented. He deserves your guys' support also. But let's get into are you ready to get depressed, Jake? Because the show we're talking about tonight is the show that you wanted to come on the channel and talk about. 13 years in the making, Kid Nation. CBS's really strange attempts to make a children's version of Survivor, essentially. It was airing in 2007. Yeah. It was shot in Bonanza City, New Mexico, and it's actually shot on a really cool little movie set, actually, down there in the middle of nowhere, down in New Mexico. And there's been a bunch of various films that have gone down there to that same exact set and shot there, like Cowboys versus Aliens, and I think 3:10 to Yuma remake also shot there, but they're literally just living there for like 40 days.
Hold the phone. You mean to tell me that Bonanza City was not a real ghost town, that cowboys really didn't live there 100 years ago, fight each other in the saloon, wrestle up some cattle, and stage some coach robberies?
No. From my research that I've done, a lot of the storylines on the show is just pretty much bullshit. But or at least the establishment of the show. But
you gotta remember, 13 years ago, I was 8 years old when the show came out.
Yeah, you were 8 years
old.
You were like, I was 10. I was 10. Yeah, I was 10 when the show came out, and I specifically remember, I'll never forget this, you were just starting to get into watching Survivor with our parents around that time. I think it was Survivor China. I think that makes sense. Yeah, 2007. So I remember specifically watching the finale with you guys, and I think you guys tried to get me to watch Survivor China, but I was just kind of hesitant to watch it at that point. But I started watching, like, week by week on the first Fans versus Favorites, which was the season right after. But I was just like, hey, Kid Nation's my show. I don't know what I was thinking back then, but
yeah, back in the day, I didn't really understand the like the whole gist or like appeal of reality TV. I just cared about the challenges, and then I zoned out whenever they were just talking.
Of course, yeah. And like, still to this
But
day,
anyway,
every time a Survivor challenge pops up, still to this day, I still get really excited about the challenges. And Jake is so annoyed every time I dance around the house with whenever a challenge comes up. And I just kind of do it just to kind of be an ass at this point now, but I don't know. It's fun. It's fun that way. But yeah, so Kid
it was
Nation.
more fun when I watched Survivor at school.
Yeah. Totally. So real quick, we're not going to go through episode by episode because there's 13 episodes. There's only one season.
Spoilers.
For obvious reasons, there's only one season. We'll get into those in a little bit. But just so we're not here for 13 hours, why don't you go ahead and like break down how a typical episode of Kid Nation went?
All right, thanks. So, as Zack said earlier, the show began with 40 children ranging in ages from like 8 to 15. They were kind of dropped off on this ghost town. It was a movie set, though, right?
Yes, it was a movie set. Yeah.
Right.
This movie was shot there, guys. Just trivia. That movie was shot there. Anyway.
Never heard of it. Anyways.
It's good.
So 40 children were placed in this ghost town, and they were expected to kind of essentially create a new society. Like, they're expected to, like, cook their own food, like, keep their houses clean, run shops, and all without any adult help. I mean, there are obviously adults to run the cameras, and there was an adult host and stuff. And in addition, what I said about the shops, there were these challenges in the episodes that determined what jobs the kids would do. The winners got the easy life, and they got lots of money to spend at the shops, whereas the kids who got last, they didn't get a participation trophy. They just got a little bit of money, and yeah, they got the bad jobs. And in addition to this, the kids, the 40 of them, were split into 4 groups of 10, and each team had a pre-selected leader to kind of help with decision making in the town and passing out the money. And every few days there was a town hall meeting where at those meetings, the kids, if they decided that fuck this, I don't want to be on Modern Lord of the Flies, they could just up and go home. No shit against them. I mean, life seemed kind of miserable living in the cowboy times.
No.
And at the very end of the town hall meeting, the town council leaders, they got to award one of the kids a gold star worth $20,000.
As Jonathan Karsh would say every single week. And yeah, that's an excellent breakdown, my friend. That's pretty much exactly how it went week to week, 13 episodes. It was kind of fun, actually, watching this show growing up. But, like, looking back in perspective...
Now, if I was a kid and I had $20,000, I would just buy a Pizza Hut and a Blockbuster and put them in the same building. So, like, if it was pizza night, it could also be movie night.
Oh, geez. Yeah, well, that's very true.
What Blockbuster is?
Oh, I'm sure a lot of my viewers know what Blockbuster is. I would hope so, for sure. Blockbuster was the shit growing up. But yeah, that's an excellent breakdown, my friend. But just kind of getting into some of the specifics of what you just were talking about. You mentioned the adult host of the show. You know how Survivor has Jeff Probst, The Amazing Race has Phil Keegan, Big Brother has the chick. Big Brother has the chick. I don't
Julie
know her
Chen.
name. There you go, Julie Chen.
Julie Chen.
I don't watch Big Brother, so anyway, yeah. So Survivor, Amazing Race, Big Brother. Kid Nation had a man named Jonathan Karsh hosting this thing. And honestly, after this show aired, Jonathan Karsh kind of disappeared. I don't know where he went, but
where'd he go?
I don't know, but that dude was really like that dude was something else for sure. And I loved how some of the kids were like kind of mouthing off to him also, like kind of being smart asses, like just kind of watching it back. I don't know. There was just something fun about it. But Jonathan Karsh never really got down on the kids' level. Something I noticed is something I kind of wish he did in the moment, but I don't know. Yeah, he just kind of like vanished after Kid Nation was
Jonathan
canceled.
Karsh, they're out of root beer in the soda saloon.
I don't think Jonathan Karsh was in charge of all the root beer, but
No, I don't think he was either. Nor should he have been.
Oh my goodness, man. But yeah, so you also mentioned how week by week the kids would literally compete for their place in the social structure. And I believe going from top to bottom, they would have a little thing called showdowns, which we'll talk about in just a moment in a little further depth in our favorite showdowns. Yeah, they were really, really fun to watch. But the showdowns basically they literally determined their social status. The first place finishers on the showdown got upper class. Not really any assigned jobs. They could work wherever they wanted to, or they didn't have to work at all, and they get paid $1 in Buffalo nickels, totally fake currency.
That's 20 nickels, Zach.
It is 20 nickels. Yeah, $1.
You know what a kid could do with $1?
They could buy a bunch of jawbreakers in the candy shop.
Yes, exactly.
Dude,
second place.
Yeah. Second place, go ahead.
Second place, we're the merchant class. They got 50 cents to run the stores, basically. There was a soda saloon, as I said earlier. There was it was a dry goods store, like, as there is in any Western town. So they sold things like baked beans and books for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Second place with the merchants.
Third place got 25 cents, and they were the cooks, so they cooked all the food. They gathered milk from their goats, eggs from the chickens. They washed the dishes, made food for the town, you know.
Unless you're the yellow district, and then you're just not doing any of the kitchen work.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And then the fourth place, or as I like to call them, the losers.
Wow. Man, where's the losers club from where you need them?
Don't mix that with Kid
so
Nation.
Cruel, Jake. Don't call them the losers.
Anyways, fourth place, they got the hard jobs. They had to take care of the trash, do the laundry, haul water, and clean the outhouses, all for 10 cents. That's only 2 nickels, or like half a gumball.
It is cruel treatment for sure. And how they literally have them compete for those sections. Yeah, but the showdowns, those showdowns themselves are a lot of fun to watch, as we mentioned. What do you think was your favorite showdown of the bunch?
Oh boy, so the showdowns, I liked how they ranged them in types. Like some of them were obstacle courses, some of them were puzzles, some of them were like I think one that was really memorable was it was later on where they had to haul rocks in a mining sled.
Oh, yep. Yeah, and I think that was about fairness and like who was going to lug the most weight for the town.
Oh, I think we should also bring up sometimes in the showdowns they were like point based, and all 4 teams had to get a combined number of points in order to win a reward for the whole town. And if they didn't reach it, then they couldn't get the choice of reward.
Right.
For that rock pulling challenge, they had to pull a combined weight of 1 ton of rocks. These little 8-year-old kids
1
pulling
ton!
huge minecarts full of rocks.
1 ton! For kids! How dare they?
The oldest probably weren't even in high school at that point. Put that in your brain.
Freshman year of high school, if that. But, like, I mean...
Those showdowns proved that if you're strong and fast enough, you'll get more money than the others.
Well, in terms of, like, the most fun showdown, I think I had the most fun watching the terrible, like, baked bean pan showdown where they had to like collect those disgusting little cans. So essentially, you have the 4 teams, right? And Jake is all grossed out. So let me just describe this to you guys. Imagine 39, 38 kids, I think, however many are left. And one at a time, each district, there's 4 districts, right? And they go in one at a time in search of their colored cans representing their districts. And the cans are buried in literally a whole bunch of baked beans with a bunch of real live pork running around in there. It is just the most disgusting thing I could ever imagine. And I do not I feel so terrible for everybody that had to run around in that pan.
3 words for you. Worst petting zoo ever. That was 4 words.
Yeah, that was 4 words. I was just like, wait a minute, where are you going?
Worst petting zoo ever. I thought petting zoo was 1 word.
Petting zoo is not, in fact, 1 word. But anyway, yeah, there was that showdown. I also really, really wanted to do the pop quiz that was done later on in the season.
Where they're talking about history of the fake cowboy town you're living in.
Yep, the history of the fake cowboy town. This is the education episode, and what I mean by pop quiz is that there's 3 kids from each district, and they have these slingshots, and then they're shooting these little nuts and bolts at multiple choice air balloons. Yeah, no, that looks like a ton of fun for sure. I don't know.
It was literally a pop quiz.
Literally and figuratively a pop quiz. Jonathan Karsh just standing there reading the questions, hoping he does not get pelted by the nuts and bolts. But anyway.
Okay. In what year did AT take? Oh my eye.
Yeah, it just hits him right in the face. And Jonathan Karsh was not there wearing glasses like my brother is, but just keep that in mind. Let's see. Yeah, showdowns, you're competing for your place in the social structure. And also,
now let's talk about the
one thing I forgot to mention for the showdown. Sorry to cut you off, but if they if they all work together, say they have an hour to all complete the showdown, and if they complete it before the hour is up, they get a huge reward, similar to how Survivor gives away rewards and reward challenges. Kid Nation kind of does the same thing here, and the reward is always a choice.
Time limit or a point limit?
Yeah, time limit or a point limit. But if they reach that certain, if they reach that limit, essentially they get a reward. And they always had 2 choices every single week. The first week
that the
is something
had to decide.
Yep, the town council had to decide.
The choices. It was either a serious choice or a fun choice.
Usually, yeah. The first week, they get either 7 more outhouses, which, by the way, they're only given 1 outhouse to start with, which is just, again, cruelty.
For 40 people.
Yep, for 40 kids, no less. Yeah, just 1 outhouse. So their choices are 7 more outhouses and an old-fashioned television. Sanitation versus SpongeBob, essentially. And I'm like, is that really an option? Is that really a choice? But I don't know, man. But anyway.
I'm trying to think of what one of the other interesting prize choices was.
You had a microwave or 40 hot pizzas.
So you either get something that'll make cooking easier or pre-made.
Yeah. Or pre-made, yeah.
All right. That was a showdown. So you think we should maybe talk about the jobs now?
Yeah. Why don't you take this one? Yeah, kind of describe the jobs that each
all right.
Each class
so,
had.
Based on your ranking in the showdown, you got certain jobs to do. First place, they could just help out where they wanted to, but they weren't obligated to work. The merchants basically ran the stores. There was a soda saloon, and honestly, that seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kids can't go to a bar. Kids can't go to a pool bar or something. Go out and play billiards with their friends.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
It was a soda saloon. That really, I think, fit kind of the Western theme of the show in a silly sort of way.
Oh, no, that was great. And I'm sorry if I'm cutting you off right here, but the soda saloon is actually something that I kind of want to segue into and talk about. And we'll go back to the other jobs. But basically, the soda saloon is one of the big catalysts for why this show only had 1 season also, because apparently a bunch of kids drank bleach on that set. For example, if you're working at a
soda.
Yeah, if you're working That's not Mountain Dew. That's not Sprite in that cup. It's like you take the little shot glass, and he's like, "Oh, this is a dirty glass." And then there was an interview with one of the kids where he actually described the whole process. He's like, "Oh, it's a dirty glass. They clean it with bleach instead of using just soap and water." Like, and then next glass.
Hey, this isn't Diet Sprite.
Yeah. So that is one of the big reasons why this show.
No one died
canceled.
on that show, by the
way. Thankfully. But apparently the ambulance arrived at one point because of that. But not good. But anyway, yeah. Continue on with the jobs.
All right. So that was the
Merch
next were
incident,
no, I think I was on to them. I was. What was the third shop? There was a soda saloon, there was a dry goods store, and
there was like a grocery store almost where you could just buy candy. It's a grocery store where the only thing they're selling is candy. That makes so much sense.
Maybe the grocery and the soda saloon could have been mixed, could have been one store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably.
Anyways, then there were the cooks, and yeah, it's not easy to feed for 40 children, especially when a lot of them don't know how to cook. That was one of the main conflicts of the first episode. A bunch of 10-year-old kids trying to figure out how to cook dinner when none of them have ever cooked before.
trying to open the can of corn with a screwdriver, and I'm like,
I think they're trying to open it with a spoon or something.
No, it was just like, like clicking, like, trying to get your, like, Microsofts to work almost. Like,
hey, Billy, I have the can opener.
No, we're not opening any cans with that right now. But yeah, and the final class, the cooks are pretty self-explanatory, but what was the final job class, Jake?
Made food and washed dishes. The people, as I said earlier, the losers, no participation trophies in Kid Nation. They got the short end of the stick, if you know what I mean. They had to do the dirty jobs that are very essential, but not many people covet.
Right.
They had to deal with all the trash. They had to do the laundry, the haul water, which doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
Then clean the outhouses.
And keep in mind also, this isn't like a garbage truck comes through and like, just, and it's not like a gadget that just dumps it into the big old like dumpster they're driving around. But they literally had to go out into the field with all that garbage and bury it. Like,
yeah, they had these 10-year-old kids had to trek hundreds of feet out into the desert.
Yeah.
Spend several hours of manual labor digging a 4-foot hole and shoveling hundreds of pounds of garbage into it.
Yeah, that's
the more I talk about the show, the more I think, what the fuck were they thinking?
I still don't know what they're thinking, honestly. Like a half hour into recording this, even I still don't know what they were thinking. Like, I don't know, man. But like, I think Kid Nation definitely had a lot of benefits to it. Also, definitely taught me a lot about like how the world works. In a sense, I mean, granted, there was a lot of like, bullshit going on. You also had some elections going on with the town council that was like kind of like the source of a couple of really big episodes in the series. But
as I said earlier, the leaders of the districts, they were pre-selected before the show started.
Yep.
And eventually the kids decided they wanted to stage a coup and vote for leaders.
No, they didn't stage a coup. It was I think it was set up that way by the showrunners. And that actually brings me into something that I really, really want to talk about. I was actually discussing this with Jake before we started recording. The journals. Every single week, the town council goes into the old chapel in town. Yeah. So they go into the old chapel and they see this faux journal from 1885 and it's just typed out like
I thought it looked real.
Microsoft Word. It wasn't real though. It wasn't even handwritten
at all.
It was totally typed. Yeah, but like they're reading it and it essentially sets up like what the episode is going to be about basically. And like it's tips from the older pioneers that like failed to run the town and then
hey children, The year is 1885. You should eat your vegetables today.
Oh God, man. But honestly, after reading and listening to all these AMAs and all these interviews from the kids that were actually there, the more I think about it, the more I think this journal was absolute bullshit. You know, like, it was basically.
We already knew that.
Yeah. So much so that the youngest kid in town in the finale told Jonathan Karsh to burn the journal. I was like,
oh yeah,
you go, Mallory, you go.
That's a spoiler for the finale.
Yeah. The job board is pretty much burnt down, and then Jonathan Karsh is like, you guys can do whatever you want. And then he has the journal, and then Mallory's like, burn it. And then he just throws it in the fire
kids.
nonchalantly.
Anyway, that journal, though.
That journal was
totally unscripted, by the way.
Yeah.
I really think that these TV producers who are actually archaeologists went into an old cowboy town and found this real authentic journal that was written by a cowboy hundreds of years ago who genuinely thought that somewhere in the future a TV show would be made about his town.
Leather-bound journal, like telling the next person who happens to stumble upon this ghost town that failed society-wise, like, they just happen to stumble upon it, and they're like, this is how we ran the town. We think you guys should run it this way. As if, like, the kids can't think of a better way to run it, you know? I don't know.
I'm 8 years old. I'm trying to figure out adjectives.
Oh my God, I'm trying to figure out adjectives. Yeah, there was a whole episode. There was a whole episode also about education, and there were a bunch of kids that were like, I hate school. I want to be away from school. And like, when I was younger, I definitely agreed with them, but like, older, I'm like, school is extremely important. Like, I would not be the person I am today, honestly, without my schooling. I have a bachelor's degree right now, and I loved going to school every single day. I'm actually thinking about going.
I'm about to get mine.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, you love it. You love school.
I'm gonna try to go for a doctorate.
Yeah.
BVM.
Hell yeah, dude. But yeah, so that's pretty much the. Yeah, we just kind of did a whole bunch of segues. But you also mentioned kind of backtracking towards your little episode breakdown. Every single week there was a town hall meeting, and every single week one kid was awarded $20,000 via apparently it was a solid gold star, which, I mean, I'm totally I totally believe that it's a gold star, but like,
gold is not cheap.
No.
In fact, let me pull up my calculations real quick.
So he's actually going to calculate how much a gold star is worth.
Well, how much it would be worth today?
Adjusted for inflation. And $20,000 in 2007. What would that be today? Probably not big of a difference, but.
Holy hell. Okay, how many? Okay, 16 times. Okay, so currently gold is going for around 1,900 an ounce. There are 16 ounces in a pound. The gold stars were 2 pounds or 32 ounces. So
my God.
1,900
times 32. Oh,
they would be worth over 60 grand today.
Jeez, my God. Yeah, those kids would be filthy rich. Yeah, those kids would be filthy rich if Kid Nation was on in 2020. But like,
yeah.
Man, yeah,
but
they could.
Usually the gold stars were they were awarded to supposedly like who's the hardest worker in the town.
Yeah.
But based on merits, but that was observed by the town council.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think honestly, like, this was a question that we were kind of discussing back and forth. Did the people who got the gold star throughout the series deserve it? And honestly, if the town council thought they deserved it, I'm not going to argue against that, because they're only kids. And like, if this is a reality show and they're like kind of portraying some of them in a really horrible light and some of them they're portraying, to be like godlike.
the
almost.
heroes of the show.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
this kid is going to be the next president, or this kid is going to be a world famous astronaut who lands on Jupiter, and this
Yeah.
kid is just going to end up living in his parents' basement doing Twitch streams and like
God.
eating hot Cheetos all day.
Oh, that's awful. But no, I'm honestly not gonna argue with these choices really personally, because it doesn't really make me feel all that fantastic criticizing these choices. I mean, if the town council thought they deserved a gold star, then that's their choice. I'm not gonna really criticize that. It's reality TV.
It's kind of like when a jury votes for the winner in Survivor or Big Brother. If the jury voted for them, then that winner must have done something right, and the person who didn't get the jury votes must have done something wrong. Because in the end, the goal is to convince the jury, and if you didn't do that, then that was on you.
So by that logic, Michelle Fitzgerald did deserve to win Survivor Co-Wrong, Jake. But anyway, getting off topic here.
Another day.
Getting off topic here. I'm a Michelle Fitzgerald fan. What can I say? She deserved to win.
Anyways,
but yeah,
Kid Nation.
Yeah, Kid Nation. So, yeah, no. So you have the gold stars. I mean, $20,000 each week is pretty cool. But Jonathan Karsh was also asking the kids every week, "Does anybody want to go home?" And that's totally reasonable. But they had to go through the whole first 4 days before they could go home, which is kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Like, what if a kid wanted to go home before that town hall meeting?
Stay in this dusty wooden saloon, Billy.
I think the JonTron show described it perfectly. Anybody here want to look like a little bitch? Jonathan Carr shouldn't actually say it that way, but yeah, his video explains the show also. It's hilarious.
You were the first person to leave. You get last place. You get 0.0 stars.
And I agree with JonTron, actually. Like, Jimmy, the first kid to like request to be sent home, he gets to go home in episode 1. Yeah, no, spoiler filled. The show was released in 2007. It's all good. So Jimmy's asked to go home, or Jimmy asks to go home, rather. He wasn't like told to go home by anybody, but yeah, he leaves, and then after Jimmy leaves, Jonathan Karsh was like, "All right, now that he's gone, here's $20,000. Who wants it?" And it's like, Jimmy got screwed, man. I don't know. Like, and Jimmy actually did say in an interview, again on JonTron's channel, he actually did say that would have been a big motivation for him to actually stay over there, like actually seeing the gold star before being asked if he wanted to leave. Like, the show's messed up, man. The show is super messed up.
They gotta create suspense, they gotta make conflict,
Yeah, they gotta create conflict at some point. Yeah, they gotta create conflict for sure. Yeah, I mentioned Jimmy also, like 40 kids on the show. Do you have a favorite on the show, Jake? Was there one kid that you were just like, that kid is awesome, I want him to like win if this was a competition?
Yeah, the winner of the show is no, there wasn't a winner.
There wasn't, but if there...
You can...
Go ahead. What's up?
I think my favorite, just for the purposes of comic relief, was Jared.
Of course. I think all the Kid Nation geeks were big fans of Jared. I was a fan of Jared also, which actually brings me to a fun little question for you. Do you have any idea what happened to Jared 3 years ago? He's got to think about this one.
I like to think him being very wise beyond his years. I like to think that maybe he was finished with high school. He went to a good college. Perhaps he majored in English or some other fine arts. And now he is a college professor who only teaches Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Some professors only teach calculus. Some professors teach chemistry. He only teaches Shakespeare. All right, class. Today we are going to talk about why
Hold
Hamlet
on.
is actually a comedy.
Whoa. Hold your horses. What's wrong with actually just being a professor of Shakespeare? Like, I just took a Shakespearean course last semester, and that was a really fun class.
No. I'm just saying.
I was just
saying
like,
it's not a very common thing that a professor, like, a very common subject for professors is what I meant to say. Like, it's not a general ed, probably.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, that was an elective course, and it was a really fun course, also.
Yeah.
But that's a very in-depth answer. I don't want to like go too in depth of what I think happened to Jared 3 years ago because I don't want to think about that. But I hope he's okay. Something really bad happened to him. Must have. Yeah, Jared, like
he was on Kid Nation. That happened to him.
Ouch. But Jared, also, you mentioned Shakespeare around him. There was a talent show.
Yeah.
There was a talent show on one episode, and Jared actually performs a monologue from Henry V. And I'm like,
an 11-year-old kid reading a Shakespeare monologue at a talent show.
This kid is a freaking prodigy, man. Like, you know, looking back in perspective, I'm like, you go, dude. But yeah, in terms
of
what I
did for my talent show when I was 11 years old, I did a swing dance. I did a swing dance to a song that came out 30 years before I was alive.
Yep. And Jared is standing there reciting Shakespeare to the masses. I think my favorite
your favorite kid?
My favorite it's actually kind of a toss-up. I really liked Michael because he really seemed like a stand-up guy, and he was the peacemaker, and I kind of consider myself a peacemaker in a lot of ways in many situations. But there's also a kid named Zack on the show that kind of overthrew the monarchy in one episode, and I thought that was really inspiring at 10 years old because Zack on Kid Nation was also 10 at the time. So I was like, heck yeah, I'll connect with the Zack buddy right here.
Plot twist. It's actually him. Zack was on Kid Nation.
I was not. No. No, this Zack was like, I think they said that Zack was from Florida. No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Don't listen to him.
We are from Florida, though, Zack. The gig is up.
No, it's not. I'm not from Florida. Yeah, I'm not going to go into
I know you details. Keep trying to repress those memories, but just let the public know.
Good God, dude. Dude, yeah, the Kid Nation, like, so we said this was kind of like, we were kind of talking about as Jay kind of gets up and does something, but we were kind of talking about it.
My fan is very hot in here.
Oh, you're good, dude. But Kid Nation was, I mean, it was an inspiring show in a lot of ways, but it's very cruel because like kids drank bleach, and also kids don't know how to cook, so some people were like, oh, I need at least like 3 cups of oil in this pan, you know? And then like, you know, you have some kids getting burnt as they're cooking things. So yeah, there were some lawsuits that went down.
Isn't how we make grilled cheese?
No, it is not in fact how you make grilled cheese, Jake. I think you should know this by now. But yeah, so yeah, you need like 3 cups of oil in the pan, and apparently the kids get burnt, and lawsuits, and we're off to the races in terms of cancellation. So that's pretty much why Kid Nation is not on the air anymore. Like, I don't even know if I could even assign
It's remembered as an unusual time in television.
Yeah, it is like the black sheep.
One that's memorable.
Yeah, it's definitely memorable for all the wrong reasons. I think it's the black sheep of these CBS reality television shows, in the same vein of like Survivor, Amazing Race, Big Brother. Kid Nation, I feel like, will always be known as the black sheep of that group, unfortunately. And it's a shame because I had a ton of fun watching it growing up. I'm sure you did too. But
yeah, I definitely recommend, audience, that you take some time. Maybe not one day because it'll be about 13 hours. But when you have some time aside, I'd recommend that you take a look at this show because it's genuinely a very interesting social experiment.
Yeah,
or as I like to call it, Cowboy Lord of the Flies.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely an intriguing little social experiment to feast your eyes on, for sure. And all 13 episodes, I actually think, are on YouTube in their entirety also. So go ahead and check them out if you haven't yet. it's definitely, yeah, but piracy, no. see, you're making me lose my train of thought now. But yeah, dude, Kid Nation, I don't know. I'm so glad you actually asked me to do this because this was a really nice sense of catharsis for me. Like,
Yeah.
this has been kind of.
Now,
go ahead.
And now, subscribers out there, you can revel in what we saw when we were in elementary school and kind of share the experience.
Yeah, relish in it or suffer in it, whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat, depending on how you like it. But Jake, my friend, this was an absolute blast to have you on for this.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Thank you for asking to be on too. This was a really, really fun little episode here. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please don't hesitate to hit that like button down as hard as you possibly can down below. Hit that subscribe button also on your way out. It's really helpful to the channel. Also, make sure you guys are helping out Jake's channel. Also, I'll leave a link once again to his channel down in the description box below. I'm sure you guys will be seeing Jake on this channel a lot more. And
yeah, I want to talk maybe some more TV shows with you.
Oh yeah, for sure. We absolutely can, dude. So keep your eyes out for that. Look out for all this extremely fun content coming to the channel very, very soon, folks. You guys are the best. With all that being said, back talk commence.